This is a beautiful world.
I'm Heather McElhatton, and this is A Beautiful World. Sarah Parcak is a professor of anthropology at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and she's also a space archaeologist.
I was a child of the 80s, and of course, one of my favorite movies was the first Indiana Jones. It made a big impact on me.
Growing up, Sarah also spent time with her grandfather, Harold Young, who was a forestry professor at the University of Maine and was one of the pioneers in using aerial photographs for identifying and measuring areas of forest.
I grew up hearing my grandfather talk about using this quote-unquote technology. He never really got into satellites. He retired before they became mainstream.
Combining her love of Egyptology with the technology of remote sensing, Sarah became a space archaeologist. She uses satellite imagery to map and model ancient landscapes here on Earth. She runs these satellite photos through different algorithms that use light spectrums to find very subtle details in the landscape that the human eye can't see.
Everything on the surface of the planet has its own chemical signature. I mean, think of how each person writes their name. Everybody writes their name differently. Well, the same thing kind of applies to everything on the Earth's surface. So whether you're a sand or a soil or a type of vegetation, you're going to look a little bit different.
Looking for these subtle variations in the landscape. For instance, plants that grow on top of stone have a different register from those growing in soil. Well, this makes it possible for her to find stone walls and roads that are underground.
Think about like a space-based X-ray. So then once you've identified this very specific chemical signature of an archaeological site, you then apply these techniques, these algorithms that make other features pop out as well.
Sarah used this technique to discover some incredible ancient sites in Peru, Nova Scotia, and of course Egypt, including the lost city of Tanis from, you guessed it, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Nazis have discovered Tanis.
Just what does that mean to you, Tanis?
Tanis is one of the possible resting places of the Lost Ark. You guys ever go to Sunday school?
So many sites around the world are getting destroyed, not just by ISIL, but by urbanization, deforestation, the rising waters due to climate change. So if we don't map these sites quickly and get a sense of what's there, how can we even know what to protect? So you have to map it first, and then you need to triage and decide what to save.
Sarah decided in order to save the most archaeological sites, she was going to need help. A lot of help. So she set up an organization called Global Explorer, which allows anyone in the world to look at satellite imagery and help map and find sites all over Earth.
We're up to 86,000 participants from nearly every country in the world, and the crowd has found close to 20,000 potential archaeological sites. Over 50 new Nazca lines, those beautiful animals and shapes and figures that are carved into the landscape.
One of Sarah's favorite armchair archaeologists is Doris Jones.
Doris is 92 years old. She is disabled. She is in Cleveland, Ohio, and Doris ended up being one of our super users. So she's looked at tens of thousands of archaeological tiles. She's this bright spark in the universe.
With the help of Doris Jones and other citizen scientists like you, Sarah Parcak hopes to map the entire planet in 10 years.
We are in this race against time. Archaeologists can't do it by themselves. You know, so many government ministries around the world are struggling with funding and support. So we need the eyes of the world on these sites to help empower archaeologists and heritage people and governments to do their jobs better. And that's why I wrote the book. I wanted people to understand what the past can teach us, so that maybe we've got a shot at existing, or at least doing a better job of existing today.
That was Sarah Parcak talking about her new book, Archaeology from Space. I'm Heather McElhatton, and this is A Beautiful World, NPR News.
Brought to you with help from the Pohlad family.